What is going on? Welcome back to ednews.com, and today we're going to talk about student loan forgiveness and where are we on who's getting their loans forgiven and who is not. So, well, we have to understand that April 6th, Biden came out and said we are extending the freeze on student loan payments, meaning that we don't have to pay monthly student loan payments up until August 31st. This is the sixth extension total, 4 by the Biden administration, 2 by the Trump administration. But there is also details on student loan forgiveness for defrauded borrowers. Now, defrauded borrowers are people who were deceived by public for-profit universities who said that their degrees were credible, that there were job placements, and none of that happened. And in fact, some of these universities don't even exist today anymore. So there's paying loans for for-profit institutions that don't even exist because they were manipulating and victimizing and targeting low-income communities and saying that their degrees were legitimate and they weren't. So there's a lot of progress there that doesn't impact most of the nearly 41 million Americans who have borrowed money, but it does impact a good chunk. So let's go ahead and look at this article and see what we got from the Wall Street Journal. So what we have here is a detailed overview of what happened on April 6th and the discussion around defrauded borrowers. So $2 billion, around $2 billion in federal debt have been canceled or discharged for tens of thousands of former students of for-profit colleges. Awesome. Now, as we continue here, what we need to look here is, though, that the department promises more such discharges as there's 150,000 cases currently asking for debt relief under the program that are backlogged. So they're just focusing on the highest need areas. And so if you're someone who's looking to make claims, if you're someone who went to for-profit schools and are paying loans that you shouldn't be paying for, this is a possibility for you. Now, as we continue here, is that there's more loan forgiveness happening. That's not just, that $2 billion was federal loans, but there was a lot of even more sketchier loans out there. And there was around $17 billion already forgiven by the administration, impacting 700,000 borrowers. And this is what the Department of Ed said last week. What we can kind of continue to expect here is that the department is going to propose a borrower defense rule for public comment this spring with the goal of a final rule this fall. So they're really tackling these defrauded borrowers. Now, something to kind of notice here, though, is that now that Biden administration is reconsidering the borrower defense claims, during the Trump administration, there was this backlog kind of happened then because, they were more picky and that they were only providing partial kind of loan forgiveness to people like around 10%. And so Rich Cordray, who is the Education Department's chief of federal student aid, he says that there is, in the next coming months, 10,000 borrowers will begin getting full notices of discharges under the program. So even those who maybe were only getting partial during the Trump administration. So huge stuff there. What I also want to dive into is, as of end of 2021, there was 423,000 borrowers claims under the program, and around 157,000 applicants have either not been processed or borrowers hadn't yet been told whether the claims were approved. The program applies to both for-profit and nonprofit schools, but there has not been no successful claims against nonprofit schools, which is most of the student loans that we have taken out is to go to nonprofit schools. So there's a lot coming. There's a lot more updates to happen as we see they're going to look to have something this fall. But for defrauded borrowers, there's a lot of success. You're talking about nearly 1 million borrowers being impacted. And so a lot of success there that during the Trump administration, there wasn't any movement on and people were getting partial. Now you're getting streamlined process and you're getting full loan forgiveness. Now, wouldn't we love universal loan forgiveness? That is a story that we continue to track. But today, there has been progress for those who've been deceived by for-profit universities. So a big win there. Thank you for watching Ed News. Looking forward to seeing you on the next update.